Oh, I would love to let you continue watching that, but this is not a lecture. This is Sunday service. So this is not a workshop. This is Sunday service. But it was the backdrop for what we're going to be talking about today. And I had two stories that I wanted to share with you. One is about my practice, and one is about me personally. So along that line of how he was explaining the difference between your thoughts and your emotions, where this fits in is when we get the messages, how do we turn that in to conscious changing and transformational process that benefits us? How do we integrate? How do we download the information from that into our being so that it can affect the way that we do things? I have been working with this for a very long time. And part of my practice, my clinical practice, is that I do therapeutic work that, and I have to say, chaplaincy has helped me with this understanding. You don't have to go the route that I did. And also psychotherapy has helped me with this understanding better. But in this example, I want to show you it works in a myriad of different ways. It works as validation. It works to show me what happens when you get calm and when you get clear and you have clarity and you have balance. I was working with this particular client one day, and he was struggling as he was understanding that the seasonal holidays were coming along, and that he wanted to have a better connection with his daughter, and that they were at ends, odds at ends. He wasn't going to go down there because he had difficulty in some mobility, and she wasn't going to come up here because of some traumatic incident, and she didn't really trust him or where he lived and all this kind of stuff. So they were at an impasse. I am trained in being able to sit back and just let people tell their story. Now, it takes a lot of training. I have to hold back a lot of stuff, right? I want to pitch in there. I want to fix him. I want to help him. I'm in the service. I'm in the helping industry. So I want to get in there and get all muddy and wet. But I've been taught, and along my own process, to sometimes just sit in the silence and wait. And wait. And wait. And the client becomes aware of their own path. Because if they're going from your energy, at some point during the session, they're going to get quiet. Their anxiety is going to get calm. They are going to get balanced. And the justice of their actions will start to rise to the top. Because I'd been practiced, I was sitting in my chair and the client was there, and I was in that moment of just listening. It was the perfect opportunity for spirit to enter, and it did. What I've been looking for is how can I integrate my intuition into my therapeutic practice? How does that work? What do I need to do this? And I've been sitting at the desk like this. I'm going to get an answer to that. And all I had to do was download this place of calmness in me. Because when I looked over at the client, I saw a flash. It happened for a split second. I said, and I stayed still and I waited like I've been trained to do. And all of a sudden, I saw these broken ending letters. And I knew it said happy birthday. Now, it wasn't something that I had to present to the client. It was just for my edification. So when you go to a therapist and they have a notepad, they're not writing just notes about you, they're writing notes about what's going on. So I wrote down on this pad, happy birthday. And then I said to myself, let me just see how that develops. So in the client unpacking what was going on, he finally distilled the real reason. He wanted to see his daughter, and they were born on the same day. They had the same birthday, sorry, 2 days apart or a day apart. And he wanted to have a party where they could both celebrate their birthdays together. Me being prepared by spirit gave me the impetus and the opportunity to be ready in the session to hold this guy as he was experiencing the anxiety of why they couldn't get together. And after that anxiety dissipated, he was able to come to some solutions. So this is to show you the validation. I got validation number one. I wanted to know how my intuition is going to work in this place of my therapeutic endeavor, both chaplaincy and therapy. And I see when I got quiet, when I got still, and when I got balanced, intuition found a moment to present itself to me in a way that I didn't have to mention it to him. I just had to be armed with it so I could hold him better. And justice would prevail. Right? Now, that's one story. We don't get off that easy. I'm not a saint. I'm not God. I'm not come down from God or nothing, because I went to the other direction also, as I normally do. And so the juxtaposed position was, in preparing for the service, as I told you before, I was trying to figure out, what am I going to send these masters? I'm talking to a group of masters. What am I, I'm not going to, what am I going to present? So I said, oh, let me go to my trusty steed and my tarot cards, and I pulled the justice card. So in preparing for this, I said, I always get my best ideas at the gym. Let me go to the gym and burn off some steam. And lately I've been trying to get the container to match the internal of balance and peace and good health and good stead. And so I went to the gym. I was on one of my machines. And I don't know if this happens to you. As soon as you decide to do something, the phone rings or the text goes or the blah. So I'm in the gym, sitting in the chair to do the abs, to do my ab exercise, and the phone went off. And I was, oh, just what I just got started. And it had been happening to me a lot lately. So I looked down at the phone, and it's my trusty steed that whenever I do these services, I always have my trusty steed by my side. And my trusty steed, by the way, is sitting in the room with us today, by my side. But there's a text message in there, and I look down, and I only see half the text. And it's got something that they want from me that they don't understand about what I'm asking. And how many of us get irritated when people don't understand what it is that you want from them? It's like magical thinking. I'm expecting them to know. Don't come back to me with no text and say that you don't understand. You know what it is I want, right? How many of us do that? A lot, right? We're expecting people to know. It's that magical thinking, right? So I looked halfway down at the text. And mind you, I can't see it because I'm holding it down here because the machine is up here and I'm holding it down there. I'm in the gym, so I'm only getting part of the text, but I'm responding and reacting to the whole text, having not seen the whole text. And so we go back and forth in this text, and it was getting more crisis with every text that we were doing, until at one point I had this moment of clarity, and I think I was able to access this moment of clarity because of the work that I do. I understand that in my sessions, I disabuse people of using texts as a way of communicating. When you want to communicate something detailed and serious. Why? Because you cannot see the reaction or the response that the other person is giving. You're not engaging all your senses. Right? So I'm looking down at this text and I got mad. I said, let me reluctantly get off this machine and go to the side. And I said, let me call her up. So I called her up, and she starts laughing and I start laughing, because we understand there's a miscommunication, and that we understand that if we get and we speak to each other, we know each other really well. We've been doing this a long time, that it's not such a crisis, and that we will be able to work it out. Right? So when you follow your intuition, like the Justice card says, and you get clarity, then the right action, right place will take place. Right action, right thought will come into being. It will take place. So that's the juxtaposed position from being balanced to being unbalanced. And by the way, it was difficult for me to explain exactly what I wanted for today. But Spirit was also clever, because it gave us a living example of exactly what we should be, or what we can discover, or what we can talk about in our service with everybody.
Yes. Thank you, Spirit.
There's my trusty steed. I didn't mention her name, but there she is.
Yeah. It was funny. We had to laugh about the miscommunication. And I think that even broke it up even better, because we were laughing and we relaxed and we figured out where the miscommunication was. And then that was even funnier. So we said, hey, this is what we're going to talk about at this service, I guess. So thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Andrew.
You're welcome. I have shared what it is for me. I want you to take a minute now and take a look at what it is for you. Where are you involved in a situation that contains this miscommunication, and you are unable to move on and move past it and get to clarity? Take a look at that and see, is it still worth standing your ground over? Can you see the clarity, the humor, the clarity, the insight, the justice? You know, I talked to in the service today, the phrase actions have consequences. In his talk, the 10-minute talk, he talked about us being programmed or plugged in to that old thought process that connects to our old heart reaction. Learning how to set it down. Learning how to put space between them. Learning how to listen to that still small voice that said to me on the machine that I was on, get up, move to the side. Stop what you're doing, take a minute. After I had that interaction with Rhonda, I returned back to the very feeling that I was so desperate to hold on to before the conversation. And it was seamless.
Yes.
You can remember that, right?
Yeah, it was a blessing. The laughter is what I can remember the most, because we understood why we misunderstood each other. And that was funny, so another gift.
Where there is clarity and balance, communication is found, restoring the balance in the midst of chaos so that justice, right action can occur. And I want to leave you guys with that for today, because I want to get some time to get some messages in, and this